So,
oh yeah, that's great. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Welcome to another episode of Chiropractic is Sexy. I am Dr. Paula Ruffin.
And I'm Dr. Erica Peabody, and it's another Thursday, beautiful Thursday. So happy to be here. And we were just talking about how yin to the yang, and if you guys knew us in real, if you knew us, go the other way.
Oh, see, you're to my right.
Oh, you're opposite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm coming in that's so weird. Okay. But anyway, it's just funny that if you knew us in real life, we're so that as well. So
Yes. I was telling somebody yesterday about how we go try on clothes and I'm like, those are really cute jeans. And you'll put them on. I'm like, those are adorable. I need to try those on. And then my body is like, oh, hell no. No. We are not doing that.
we're just not the same.
No.
But we balance each other out well. I love the title of this that you just put up, From Womb to World, Why Parents Are Choosing Chiropractic from Birth. And we just have an awesome show that I'm jazzed up from a call that happened yesterday that will literally drive me for the next 10 years of my career, to be honest with you. And that's what we wanted to share. So.
And I think this topic, this is where it's going to hit in so many places. And I agree with you. It's like, whoa, in all of our years, our almost 50 cumulative years of practice, I've never experienced this. I know you've never experienced this. I know we always talk about longevity and leaving a legacy of health and wellness and raising your kids to be healthy and well and holistic. And this gives legacy health a whole new meaning.
Yeah.
So I think with that, we really are trying to impact pregnant mamas. We get pregnant mamas in here all the time, and we're taking care of kids, and we're trying to help people make sure that they're raising their kids more healthily, if that's a word, good food, good movement, good, just being a good example for what it means to live a long, healthy life. And so I think with that, you can probably go ahead and just share this story, and then let's spin it out from there.
Yeah. So yesterday I was obviously in practice here. It was a really busy day. I've had actually 2 new pregnant moms this week and a new baby that's been actually colicky for the first 3 weeks of life. And they came on Monday. She had a really good day on Tuesday, came back yesterday. I said, if you guys are good, I'll see you next week. Otherwise, we'll see you today. So anyway, but yesterday afternoon, through all of this, I see all ages and all walks of life. So we see men too and grandparents. But we got this call yesterday, and it's one of the moms in the practice who actually, she lives 45 minutes from here. So I can see her down at my other office, but they're on a farm. And so 45 minutes from here. So I haven't seen her in the last couple of months, but she called yesterday and she's like, I need to make an appointment for my new baby. And Lisa, my front desk office manager extraordinaire, starts to get the information. So we always take the information like name, address, phone number, and all that. So we make sure we get them in order to put them in the schedule. We have to have all that information up front. So kind of our system builds. And so she's like, okay, last name, I'm assuming it's the same. She said, yeah. And she said, what's the first name? And the mom says, well, we don't know yet. And sometimes, so when Lisa first said this to me, sometimes some of our moms in the practice, it does take people days. If they have a home birth, it'll take them days to actually name this baby. But she's like, she doesn't have a name yet. She isn't born yet. And, but she was in early stages of labor. So she has an appointment for next week. And we're gone for the long weekend ahead. And it was like, it just struck me. It struck Lisa for one, but it really struck me how, and about the biology, or all about the biology. Ken was just talking about like the foundations of what builds a healthy, it's all about, yeah, thank you. The foundation for what builds a really healthy life. And we've talked months ago about how the nervous system is the very first thing to form inside of this new, when the egg meets the sperm and the cystoblast, and it goes on beyond that. One of the very first organs to form is the nervous system, the brain, and the notochord, or this becomes a spinal cord. but that needs to go to everything in the body to make sure that the process, the communication is going to develop this baby in utero. So then we come through the birth canal, or hopefully not, but potentially you're born one way or another. And moms often will wait after they've had chiropractic care during pregnancy. They'll wait until there's an actual issue. Baby's not latching, not eating, colicky, not sleeping, not digesting, blah, blah, blah. 3 months of that is a lot of times when we see moms first. I'm happy to see that. However, when someone calls and makes an appointment for their unborn baby for next week, then they'll have a name. Like, it stopped me in my tracks. I made Paula a video right away. And it goes along with, why would we, and I'll let you answer this, why would we start chiropractic so early? And what benefits would a newborn have? And then going forward, like, why would we do it unless we have pain and tension in the spine, which is what people look at chiropractic as. So I'm just going to kind of lob that back to you. So
yeah, and it's such a beautiful story, and it really does. I think it's also one of those stories that reminds us that we are doing the right thing, that is what a unique situation in all these years. And wouldn't it be great if every pregnant mother was under chiropractic care, if every pregnant mother made appointments for their unborn children, if every pregnant mother brought in their newly born child and all their children, for us to be the first line of care for these people, because it is holistic and it is about balancing the nervous system. And while this is not about a baby, I had a woman today, she's like 65, and she said to me, man, I feel tingles from your adjustments. And I go, that's good. I said, we're waking up your nervous system. And she said, my neighbor asked me why I needed to go to the chiropractor. And she said, well, I just told her she's turning my brain back on. And her neighbor goes, well, good luck with that, but the fact that she got it, she understands that this isn't just about neck and back pain. This is truly about bringing better life, better quality of life, and better messaging to the human body, to everything on the inside. And I know we've talked about this before, but I'll say this again, is that during the birth process, that first of all, getting chiropractic care for prenatal care helps with your pregnancy. It helps with healthier pregnancies. It helps with less interventions during pregnancy, and then of course during birth. And then during the birth process, when that baby comes through, hopefully naturally through the birth canal, what happens is the neck gets stretched up, and then their head gets turned, and they have to press down like this and open up this whole shoulder to kind of get them to come out. And what happens oftentimes, a lot of times babies will be born with either torticollis, so their neck is stuck, muscle spasms. I know everybody listening has had torticollis at some point in time. You wake up in the morning and you go to turn your neck and there's a knife in your neck. Imagine that's what happens with a baby. Or they get a fractured clavicle, a fractured collarbone. So the process of birth is incredibly traumatic. And that's why as chiropractors, we want to be able to come in and balance out the baby's spine and nervous system so that they don't succumb. Because when you start to shift these bones up here, let's say they don't have torticollis and they didn't get a fractured clavicle, these bones are still shifted because that was trauma coming through. And that can, the latching issues and the not sleeping and colic and all of that. But if you're born C-section, it's even worse. Your body doesn't get squeezed. Like going through the birth canal squeezes all the fluids out of you. It puts all the good, healthy microbiome onto the baby from the mom. And if you come out C-section, you don't get healthy microbiome, which is immune function. You don't get all that fluid squeezed out of you, which is just how your brain, your body, and your nervous system is going to function. And to get you out of the womb this way, they often require I don't think they use forceps anymore, but I think they still use vacuum extraction. So it will elongate the the spinal bones, the cranial bones, and affect the brain. So think about that. Your brain, the poor little baby's brain's being squeezed. So, and I know you probably do a lot more baby cranial than I do, but so what do you typically see in that kind of a situation when baby comes out C-section?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, the C-section babes are often, they're stuck in the pelvis because of mom's misaligned pelvis. And as we work with them, then baby gets to properly descend through there. But no matter which direction they come, it's all about what I usually see on babes is I will see their head is tilted one way or another, but sometimes they've actually grown that way. So I have one babe in the practice right now, big, robust cheek on one side, flat on this side, ear bent over like this. And they grew that way in utero, like they grew like this. So that matters a lot because the top of the spine, this is where the brainstem sits. And the brainstem has, actually, I have a really good story about this. The brainstem has control of the vital organs. So it does respiration, it does heart rate, it does all of that stuff. And so when my youngest brother was born, he was vaginal delivery. And they kept him, I think he was a little bit jaundiced, but they kept him and my mom in the hospital for a few days because he was hyperventilating. He was like this, like he couldn't slow down his breath. And so after they did all the tests on him, they did all the things. He was a big baby with a big head. They did all the tests on him. They basically said, here you go, good luck. And my mom went home with the babe. Well, my mom has gotten all of us, thank goodness, adjusted. We see the chiropractor since we were babies. And so my mom, before even going home, took Brandon to her chiropractor at the time. And it was the top bone in the spine, the atlas, which is where the skull sits on. And one little tap on the atlas, everything slows down. He goes on and everything's fine. There's nothing in the hospital that would have had them even look. They're looking for blood stuff. They're doing blood tests. They're doing organ tests. They're doing that kind of stuff. They're not doing spinal and nervous system and neurological testing. And so one little atlas adjustment and he goes home and everything's fine. So these things are happening on a regular basis with vaginal delivery, with C-section delivery. And it's so critical, no matter which way they come out, that you just get them to the chiropractor. Now, one mom sat in on a baby's adjustment 2 weeks ago, not this week, but last week. I was in a place where I was down in my other office. I had a mom with an 8-week-old on her chest. She's been adjusted her entire pregnancy, and babe's been adjusted since day 2. And so new mom is due the end of September. And she's like, do you mind if I sit in and watch this adjustment? Because new mom is a nurse. And a nurse would think the adjustments that you see on TikTok and blah, blah, blah are the adjustments that happen on a baby. And it's so different than that. I'm like, this is going to look like I'm giving a massage. The pressures we put are like pushing into a ripe tomato. There's no musculature. There's nothing there. So we just got to get them regulated. And really what this does in the grand scheme of things for kids is they'll get stuck on their gas pedal. And the gas pedal of life is a sympathetic fight or flight, overdrive, can't figure out how to relax, witching hour 5 to 8 p.m., like all of that stuff. So chiropractic helps them regulate the gas pedal and the brakes. And it just gets them into this parasympathetic mode, which happened on Monday for that other babe. Parasympathetic mode, very simple adjustment that was seen by that other patient because she's like, am I doing this with my newborn? And on we go to a more well-balanced life. And then people will say how frequently. I love to see newborns for about 3 to 4 weeks in a row. And then once a month as they're growing and developing, or if a cold, flu, sniffle, cough, blah, 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 something like that comes up. So super long.
And it makes so much sense because it also goes into the explanation of people will say, why would you do that to a child? I've heard that statement. And it's like, do what? Like, as if we're harming kids.
Yeah.
And yet, they're slicing women open and pulling babies out with, vacuum extraction. And that's not, or pinning a baby down. And I remember when I was, I think 7, and I went into, my mom took me in to get a vaccination, and I was a lunatic, and it took 7 doctors and nurses to pin me down to give me that injection. Now, if that were me, I'd be like, you know what, we're going to leave. We got to, I can't, this is too traumatic for my child.
Yeah.
But that's not what happens here at the chiropractor. No one's screaming. No kids. In fact, babies actually end up calming and softening, and their whole demeanor changes. And usually, and you know how this goes too, like, especially with torticollis, if their head is canted to one side, and again, not even torticollis, but if you'll notice, like, they ask the mom, you'll say, do you notice, do they feed better on one side than the other? Or when they sleep, do they sleep with their head turned to one side? And then they'll suddenly go, oh, actually, yeah. They don't notice it, so you point it out. And then you adjust the baby, and then within a couple of hours, what do we get? We get a picture that shows the baby sound asleep with their head completely in the other direction. So it's really freaking cool. But the whole idea of chiropractic is that if like every single woman who is pregnant, prenatally even, so even before you get pregnant, how amazing, how optimized can you get your body and your nervous system? Because this is about holding life. And we talk about this all the time, is that your lifestyle will dictate your longevity. And again, probably can't say that like as a 100%, but for the most part, you're hedging your bets that you're going to have a good long lifestyle if you do certain things. And when you're thinking about growing life, it's so critical that you are taking care of you as the human to be able to leave that legacy. You need to be able to grow a baby and have all the fingers and toes and make sure that the brain and the nervous system is functioning the way it needs to. And then you need to be able to raise that baby with those same principles and those same habits and morals, so that that's your legacy. So again, this woman, to me, the whole intention, like that intention that she set for that baby that is still in her womb, that baby is feeling that vibration. That baby is feeling that it's taken care of by its mother. So I have no doubts that baby will go on to do really incredible things, because mom is setting it up from day one.
Yeah, no, it's really true. And this is a really great comment. So I agree with the benefits being stated. Babies should be loved and handled with utmost heart and critical attention. But I feel chiro might be financially out of reach for many parents. Yes and no. So the ones that really understand what we're doing, it's like, how much are you going to pay for the stuff that keeps you healthy? Now, Dr. Paula and I will rant about organic food and making sure you're paying for your gym memberships and your yoga classes, and it's stuff like that. And we make it doable financially. I make it really simple in my office. We just keep like straight fees, but it's skip a couple venti lattes, in a week time, and you got yourself, halfway to an adjustment kind of thing. And so it's a great point, and it does depend on what you are prioritizing for spending your money in, to health and wellness or proactive or other ways. And, infants don't have a ton of stress. So like I said, I see them once a week for 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, just depending. And then after that, once every 2 weeks, and then like once a month. And I can tell you could skip a couple Starbucks lattes for what we charge for one visit per month or one visit every 3 weeks. It's really, it does. It's like you invest now or invest later, but that goes for everything across the board when it comes to your health. There was a practitioner. Well, okay. So let me just back up and also answer this. So that 3-week-old that came in on Monday, I'm not kidding. She's been crying and screaming for 3 weeks unless she's eating, and she's barely sleeping. She's this itty bitty little tiny thing. I'm not exactly sure. She said that I think she found us off the internet. I don't know that she had a referral of somebody in the office, but that's a lot of times it's just referral, like word of mouth. But so this babe would not really lay flat down on mom. She did for a little bit, but then she's uncomfortable. No chance of this child laying on her back. So I picked her up. Of course, my heart's breaking because I'm also a human. And so I pick up this child and I literally can feel this entire spiral this direction. So head's here and I can feel the hips are spiraling in this direction. Like the whole spine is torqued all the way down. So I just start rocking and I'm like shaking the babies behind and doing this. And then I'm working with the spine up high. And I got to tell you that next day on Tuesday doesn't mean I'm like working miracles, but the body is a miracle in and of itself. Doing a little bit of this, I did some palate work. I did some cranial work, brought the jaw forward. She's got a really nice strong latch. And that Tuesday, the peace inside of that household, I don't think there's a number you could put. You couldn't even afford to pay us for what we do. So we just have to make an even exchange so that what we're doing, that, you know, we have an even exchange going on. There isn't a number that you could possibly pay for the peace inside that household that next day. And then probably yesterday and today, I could check in with them today, but I don't like to, I mean, moms are barely sleeping. This is a brand new babe and a brand new first time mom. There isn't a number that you could pay. So I just make it an even exchange so that we're doing, you know, and that they can afford to keep coming and all of that. So thank you for asking. And that is sort of the super long of a short answer. So maybe you could answer that too.
Well, we've had that question also, or we've had that comment a lot. It doesn't matter what the topic is that many people have commented that the cost of chiropractic care is not within their budget. And it is, and we've talked about pay for it now or pay for it later. And yet then there is, what is quality of life? And what does quality of life mean to you? And we talk about that, you know, being at the end of life. And do you want to be the grandparent who is up dancing with your grandchildren at their wedding? Or do you want to be the grandparent sitting in a wheelchair at the sidelines on an oxygen tank because you haven't taken care of yourself? And there's no, like you said, there's no number that can be put on that. Quality of life is it's priceless. It's something that we should all be striving for. And so what are all the pieces that you can put into place to make sure that you're going to move in that direction? And I remember when I was pregnant and I was getting adjusted, I was getting regular massages, I was still working out at the gym until about 7 months. And then I had like horrible pelvic pain that I could barely walk. So what did I do? I breathed. I breathed. I did breathing exercises.
Some breath work.
Yeah. I did what I could, but the other thing I got acupuncture. I took Epsom salt baths. I meditated. I did my own hypnotherapy. And besides, you know, a couple of those things. So like, you know, it cost money to go to the acupuncturist. And when I went, and he asked me about pain, and I said, I'm not in any pain. I said, I'm just pregnant, and I just want to make sure that I have the best possible state in my body because I'm growing life, and I want to have the best possible outcome. And so that's really my wish for everybody is let's not wait until there's something catastrophic. And yes, do we need the venti lattes? And I guarantee you there's an app. Is it Rocket Money, I think? And it will track, like, some people's banks will do this too, where it will track all of your transactions. I challenge each and every one of you to track your transactions for 1 week, 3 days even. But let's try 1 week, 7 days. And I guarantee you, if you show me all those transactions, I will go, you don't need that. You don't need that. And I want to see the itemized grocery bill, because You don't need half of the stuff that you threw in your cart that goes in the freezer, that requires a microwave, that is full of processed food that you have to pull plastic off and throw it in the oven. You don't need any of that. And it's really expensive to your health, and it's incredibly expensive to your pocketbook. So I would challenge you, let me evaluate that for you. And then I guarantee I'll come up with lots of money for you,
Right.
not just for chiropractic care, but I'm sure there's some left over.
Yeah, no, it's a really great point. And it brings me back to, so October of last year, I ended up with a hip injury from surfing. I'm like ecstatic, obsessive wake surfer. And I got an injury and it progressed, and it wasn't healing. Even though I'm doing all the things, it wasn't healing. So in January, now I have nausea.
We're both having some challenges
know.
today, aren't we?
And pain and like debilitating. And so I ended up at a nurse practitioner's office at a women's integrative medicine place. They did blood work on me, and which is fine. That's totally fine. They send in the blood work to my insurance to be paid. And I just have like, I don't have minimal coverage, but I have like a catastrophic policy, but it covers the basis. Well, they're going to cover $50 a day for blood work, for depending on the like $50 per session. This blood work came back months later at $2,500 for that. And the insurance company picked up $50. Now 25, and this doesn't mean that I didn't need that blood work, but I have other ways. There's other ways and other avenues, including functional medicine, to get blood work done, expansive blood work done, and have a way better financial investment to what you're getting out of it. Now, I have to pay that $2,500, which I'm fine with. And I can tell you with $2,500, you could get an entire year's worth of chiropractic care, an entire year, not one blood draw from one place for one session. You could get your entire year and maybe even get, some supplements taken care of with that. Like, so it's been really eye-opening for me what is going out there, and then what our invaluable service is. And we can move on with, away from money, but it is about the financial investment in health and wellness rather than trying to run the thing down when you're running in quicksand, right? With your health and the foundation. So as we're talking about the foundations of health, it starts with mom getting pregnant and doing I can tell you, I would say probably 95% of the moms that get pregnant make serious lifestyle changes immediately upon finding out pregnancy, because there's this, and this that they shouldn't be doing anyways, but now they have new life on board, and it's more important to them now to be building this body because of the baby. And how many changes happen right away, and then how many people like turn back around once they have babe. Like, it all matters. It always matters. Every decision we make matters. Every single day it matters. And it's just interesting when moms make that change. Like, if you had a baby, if you're a woman out there, or if you're going to be raising a family, or if you've raised a family, or you got your grandchildren in your home now, what are you doing? What 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things would you change if it was affecting another life that you won't change for yourself right now because it's not affecting anybody else but ourselves? Me too, you guys. Me too. So that's not what got me into that pain cycle, but I have made a lot of changes since. But what should we be doing now that we're not doing that we would do if we had another life on board and mattered?
Well, and this goes into the preconception,
Mm-hmm.
which, we're applauding this mother because she wants to bring her unborn child in, but really the younger we can get to people. So not just women. I always say too, men aren't off the hook. Like, men,
Right.
the quality of your sperm has to be like, you got one shot, literally. And then like that DNA has to be seriously like viable. And then you have the mom, right? And now mom's responsible for carrying that child. And the unfortunate thing is that I think the number is around 70 to 80% of Americans are undernourished or nutrient deficient. And in order to grow life, that baby needs so many nutrients and cofactors to be able to build the nervous system, to be able to build its body. And so when you are not sufficient nutritionally, the likelihood of having a baby that has any kind of birth defects or abnormalities is far higher. And so we also are hoping to prevent that by this conversation, because if you can think, like, and you said, it's like a lot of women and unexpected pregnancy, right? I mean, I'm one of them. I was healthy before I went into that, but I did the same thing. I was healthy, found out I was pregnant, and then I was like, what more can I do? Where a lot of people in our society they're just like not, they're drinking all the lattes and eating the fast food and not taking care of themselves. And then they get pregnant. And then they're like, oh, okay, I can change some things. But they don't have all the tools that they need to then be able to take themselves really completely through a healthy pregnancy and then raise those kids. And it still falls into like, I'm driving through McDonald's. And like, that's a non-negotiable for me. It was a non-negotiable for my mother, the single mom back in the 70s. And it's a non-negotiable for me. Like, it would be easy. Some days I'm like, ignorance. I wish ignorance was bliss. I mean, I know ignorance is bliss, and I wish I had some of that I could just drive through the drive-through and grab some food because I'm starving and I don't feel like cooking. But I just can't do that to myself because the quality of the life that I've built is so much more valuable than that. So we really have to get these messages out to younger people to make these changes, because at the planned or unexpected, bringing of life into the world, you have got to be prepared. Your body is a vessel that has got to be able to grow that life in a viable and optimized way. And it all starts with chiropractic care.
It does. It does. And so you guys might be asking like, okay, so this unborn child, like how will their paperwork even be filled out? Like they'll have their birth date on there, and then we'll talk a lot about how the babe is delivered. What happens then? What did they notice? What did they not notice? I cannot remember if this mom uses midwives or not. I cannot remember, but a lot of our moms do. A lot of our moms have their babies at home because, quite honestly, we used to squat as women behind sheds with our friends. Like, the body is really, really capable. But there was this other mom that delivered a few weeks ago, and she'd been under care her whole time. And she just gets into this place where there's like a stop of progress. It's called dystocia. But it's like, I wish, and I was just talking to the mom that's due. I have a lot of moms right now. But there's a mom that's due at the end of September. And I was like, listen, when you are feeling that your body is headed in to, first of all, don't skip your appointments. Don't skip them now, but definitely don't skip them at the end. Make this a top priority, because if we can keep that body progressing forward, we can keep mom progressing forward. The pain is the pain is the pain. I know it's uncomfortable, but if we can get them adjusted and then get to the other side and get mom adjusted and baby adjusted, it's one of the most beautiful things to bring a healthy babe in a healthy way into the world, minus drugs if we can, and allow that babe. I mean, it's a different existence, totally and completely. So this could literally, we could do an entire seminar on this. And I'm like so honored to be the trusted and favorite family chiropractor in my area. And so honored to be working with all the moms and all the pregnant bellies and all the babies, and to be able to just help them maximize and optimize. An egg and a sperm came together and created this thing, and that the innate intelligence inside the body that built this thing, when we're birthed, it's still with us. We just have to, as chiropractors, this is what we do. We optimize the innate ability to do its job, which is through the nervous system, through the brain and spinal cord. So,
and I always say that the greatest compliment that anyone can give us is handing us their baby to adjust them. Because like you said, it's the gentlest thing, and yet it's life-changing, not just for the baby, but for the whole household. Yeah. And so that, to me, whenever a mother, it's usually mom bringing the baby in, whenever a mother hands a baby to me to adjust them, it is like, there is just a feeling, you know the feeling, I can't even describe it, but there is a feeling that I get that goes so far beyond. It's not just what I'm doing, it's how am I impacting, how am I changing, how am I creating a better life for everybody. And then you hand the baby back to mom. Like, there's this incredible energy exchange there. And it's selfishly, it's incredible for me. So
yeah, like I said, that one call will drive me for the next 10 years of my career, just knowing that people are really, really understanding it. Mm-hmm. I have this other family, this was a couple of years ago, but they wanted a baby for 5 years. They did all the things, and they finally got pregnant. She was under care. And then once she had the baby, she just stopped care, because the motherhood transition, although we understand these things, a lot of times it's hard to get these babies out into the world, try and figure out how to be a new mom. Like, I get that. And they, after 3 months of straight crying, like, to want a babe for 5 years, do everything that they could, be pregnant and looking forward to this for 9 months, and then have 3 to more months of just pure annihilation of their household because of a colicky baby. And they come in and they start getting adjusted. Like, imagine what it's like to be those parents that they wanted this babe for so long, ruined their home. Not really, but the crying was, and then start getting
maddening. Yeah.
It's
maddening.
Yeah. It's a thing. So anyway, we're always honored. It's beyond rewarding. But it's also beyond rewarding to even have, like you said, you had a 60-year-old in and her body's tingling, and I just had mid-70s in, and I'm like, just talking about joy, chasing their joy and being joyful and hopeful and helpful. And it's the greatest career, and 20 and a half years in, I'm more grateful today than I was when I chose it 30 and a half years ago.
Agreed.
Yeah. How lucky are we?
So I think it's a great place to end it for today, and just, really just leaning into this legacy. And boy, that brought a whole new level to it. So, from womb to the world, and, just keep pushing on and keep leaving that legacy and doing one thing better today than you did yesterday. Yeah. And spreading this message as well. Anybody that that is either thinking of being pregnant or that it's of childbearing age, share this video with them so that they can get themselves under chiropractic care, and then make sure that they have the best possible babe growing in their belly. So yeah, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you all for your comments and your engagement. Please make sure you're subscribing, and we will be sure we see you next week. Have a good one.